Welcome to the Nrgy Speaks Life podcast. If you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Nrgy, the self-mastery coach, speaker, court-registered mediator, and author. On this show and this channel, we focus on personal development and self-improvement for those who want to achieve self-mastery. On today's episode and every week, you will learn tips, strategies, techniques, and things that you can take action on today. This week's guest is Jaimee, and today she will be focusing on discussing limiting beliefs around time. So Jaimee, welcome to my show, and please take a moment, to introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you so much for being here, for inviting me to be on this show and to be a guest. I feel really grateful to be speaking with you and your audience today of people who want to become masters of their life and masters of their time is what I want to speak about today, because time is the undercurrent of our life. If we want to master our life, if we want to become to be the professionals, experts, subject matter experts of any topic, we all have one thing that we're all dealing with, and that is time. And that is the essence of my journey. So if this is your first time learning about me and my work, my name is Jaimee Campanella. I'm a time strategist and productivity consultant, and I mentor and guide parents, professionals, and entrepreneurs to restructure their time to actually achieve their dream life vision. I'm the creator of the Time Power Method, where I give people these essential tools and strategies to avoid overwhelm, tame chaos, and actually achieve their goals. So I'm known as that person who's going to help you go from, let's say, I don't have any time, to, wow, I just finished my to-do list and it's only lunchtime. And I'm also the mom of two young boys, a wife, business owner, speaker, and entrepreneur. And over the last 20 years in my professional experience, I have been this master of turning chaos and complexities into efficient and productive machines and structures. So I've helped large corporations, not-for-profits, and so many different clients over the years with small businesses help create structure in their life to reclaim their time. And my journey started as an online business owner, as a virtual services agency owner, which I still run today, where I actually get to provide small businesses with the resources and the actual practical ways to create time freedom for themselves. So time freedom is the essence. This mastery of time is the undercurrent of what I teach. And I teach this because it was my journey. It was my battle. It was my challenge. And once I finally found a way of handling it, I felt like I was sitting on gold, and I wanted to help other entrepreneurs with this as well, because you mentioned everyone here is an entrepreneur or a go-getter, high achiever. We're all looking to do something excellent in our life. And most of the time we go into this way of living or wanting to start our own business or be an entrepreneur because we want to have some sort of experience of life at the same time. We want to get out of the 9 to 5 because we want to have work-life balance, or we want to make a difference in our industry. And I was that same person. I wanted to start a business after I left the corporate world where I was going to get to spend time with my family, spend time with my children. And of course, I knew, the tools and systems I used professionally would be instrumental in how I created this for myself. But what happened was, as my business and my family grew, I felt like I was always fighting with time. I was disappointed with how much time I had. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this. I started working later hours. I would take work calls when I was with my family. I dropped, my personal creative time, my personal care time, or really anything for the future health of my business. And I was constantly trapped between feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. And now I was successful. I want to say that, like, my business was doing really well. And that was like, on one hand, it was intoxicating because the more I was working, the more money I was making, the more clients I was getting. And so on the surface, I was thriving. My business was successful, but I was starting to resent my business because I wasn't present for the life experiences. The whole reason I started it, I started to lose my purpose. And that's when I really realized that it didn't matter how much money I was making, that if I wasn't in alignment with my actual lifestyle and my personal goals, that I was always going to feel like this competition, or I have to choose one or the other. I can't be a present mother and a successful entrepreneur. And I wanted to change that. So that is kind of the crux of where my journey started, because not only was I feeling, tired and busy and not enough time, but as I mentioned, I was running an agency, and everybody I was talking to, and I mean like successful, ambitious, high achieving, amazing entrepreneurs, we were all complaining about the same things. I'm tired, I don't have time, I don't have, and I was like, wow. So it's not just me, first of all, but we have to solve this because we're amazing people and we are on great missions. We have greatness to share with the world, and yet we're being held back in the name of not having enough time.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you were speaking to me. As you were describing things, describing yourself, talking about your clients and things like that, man, I was like, yep, that was me. And you talked about leaving corporate to spend more time with your family. I did the same exact thing. It was literally like having to, I'll always use this as an example forever. When your corporate job tells you, okay, you only have 30 minutes or an hour to eat, and you're trying to, figure out where can you go? Do you take a lunch today? If you didn't bring a lunch, then, you have to go and get in line because everyone's taking their lunch break around the same time. So the lines at the restaurants are long, and I say it's inhumane, but yes. So time, we are talking about something that is so near and dear to my heart. So can you tell us about what was maybe like that first step, or maybe the process or system, whatever you used initially to get you started on really becoming in control of your time?
Yeah. I think the first thing that I had to do was recognize what I was experiencing, right? Recognizing what were my symptoms, what were all the people around me complaining about, and kind of synthesizing that. So, okay, what are the issues at hand here? And this is, I think, where many people resonate. It's like that feeling of constantly being rushed. It's always feeling like you're running late to meetings or events, or feeling like your to-do list is always getting bigger instead of shorter. You have work running through your mind while you're making dinner for your kids, or even while you're playing with your kids, you're thinking about that email that you need to send, and feeling like you're exhausted when you wake up because you're staying up so late the night before. So I really started to see that all these symptoms were just showing me that we were falling into this trap, this, disorganized entrepreneur trap. That's what it came down to. We were all disorganized entrepreneurs. We were trying to do this great work, but we weren't addressing that. So why were we in this trap? And I did see that this had to do a lot with our society and this whole concept of hustle culture, and seeing that we were celebrating ourselves if we were doing more, adding more. And we had this misconception that if we do more work, we're going to be more successful. But that was actually counter to what was happening. The more we were doing, the more we were burning out. And while, like I mentioned, success looked like money coming in, but it wasn't successful because we weren't living the life we wanted. And that was, to me, this kind of concept that we needed to bust. Working more, adding more to our plate was not making me a better person, was not making me a better entrepreneur. And it wasn't helping me serve my business, my clients, or my personal life. So the first part was, again, just what are the symptoms? Why these symptoms keep occurring? And then how can I shift out of it? And there's two kind of pathways that I attribute to that success of getting out of it. And one was mindset. I realized a lot of my common misbeliefs that I had and other people had was all related to my relationship with time. So that was one piece, mindset, which I could speak more about. And then the other piece was structure and systems. I didn't have the right structure and systems in place to support the experience I wanted to have. And my MO and a lot of people's MO to try to solve the problem was actually adding more. And I was kind of not seeing that so clearly. And now I do. That, we try to buy these hacks, like time-saving hacks, or buy our way out of struggling. And so I was, and other people around me, they were, buying every productivity tool out there, another book, another video that nobody watched, nobody read. They tried to multitask, but you can't write a book and play the piano at the same time. They thought, outsourcing was the answer, but then they outsourced too early in the process and didn't even know how to manage a team or what to give people. So this way of solving the problem was adding more. So I kind of saw this. So, we already have this existing to-do list. It's not getting shorter on its own, but then we're adding more and more and more to it to try to solve the problem. But it's actually just keeping us on that hamster wheel, the burnout, just going in circles and not getting anywhere closer. So yeah, structure and systems were crucial, the right ones, and the mindset. So I can speak a little bit more about that first channel, because I think this was like the secret sauce of my work. That, I said I was systems person. Like, that's my go-to. I'm organized, I'm systematized. And that's what I was doing as an agency owner. I kept trying to solve the problem by saying, here's an assistant, here's an automation, here's a new CRM, here's all these glossy new programs. And while they worked in the short term, they weren't really addressing the problem that these people were having. They're like, really? I have no time, and now you want to teach me to use a new system? Like, so I had to address the underlying thing first. What that was, the feeling of there's not enough time.
Yes.
And that is the limiting belief that I think almost everybody who's listening will relate to, that you just think there's not enough time. Mm-hmm. You don't have enough time in the day. You ran out of time. You're late because you ran out of time. You forgot to do something because you didn't have time. That didn't get done. So this is what we're all saying. We expect that just to be true of time. And we wonder why we feel out of control, because we're talking about time as something happening to us. We're acting like a victim of time. We're acting like a victim of our lives. And so I realized that was a huge common misbelief that we all had. Time was out to get us. Time is against me. That's what these statements that we say all the time, I wished I had more time, I didn't have it. That's what that really means. So I saw that we were cycling through time scarcity because of the way we were understanding our relationship with time to just be. So that was pivotal. If I wanted to stop acting like a victim of time and take responsibility for my life, I needed to change my relationship with it, change my mindset around it.
Love it, love it, love it. The secret sauce. And I hear a lot of people also say, oh, time got away from me or something like that. Like, did it really?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, who's in control here? Is
Right.
time controlling you, or is time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So I love that. Was there any more that you wanted to share about that first pathway of mindset and your
Well,
secret sauce?
yeah. Well, I just want to say we talk about this a lot when it comes to money, manifesting money, money abundance. This is a very hot topic. Everybody wants more money. Everybody wants to experience more abundance. But we also say, or at least I believe, that time is more valuable than money, because money can be replaced. Time cannot. So that is also where I realized I wanted to change the narrative, like stop talking about money, start talking about time, because time is the undercurrent of every single thing that you're doing in your life. Time is your story. The way you spend your time is the story of your life. And we just take advantage of it all the time. We blame it we take advantage of it, and we don't take responsibility for it. And that, I think, is the reason we struggle, the reason we have all those symptoms, the reasons we feel disorganized, because we're out of control. We're out of control with our time.
Yes. And something that I always say is whenever, like, if I'm in a session and I have a client who's just not grasping the importance of time, then I'll break it down and say, every minute of time that you waste is 1 minute of your life that you waste.
Mm-hmm.
Because 1 minute of time equals 1 minute of your life. And they'll pause for a moment and they kind of, they let it sink in and they're like, wow, so time is life. And I'm like, yes, that's the connection. So I totally agree when you stated that time is more valuable than money. 100%. Time is the most precious commodity that we have.
Yeah, and and people think, they get scared by that kind of statement sometimes. Oh, well, I gotta be conscious of every single thing I'm doing and every minute of the day. And I said, listen, if you want to spend half a day today laying in bed and watching Netflix, that's totally fine. It's okay. If that's how you want to relax and veg out, then I want you to make that choice, that conscious choice. I'm blocking out 3 hours today to do absolutely nothing. But I want you to be present and enjoy it, because for me, it's not a win if you're laying there watching Netflix, but thinking about how guilty you feel for not putting away the laundry, not calling your mother, not playing with your kids, not creating that next business plan, or whatever it is. So to me, like, it's a win when you make a conscious decision about how you're going to spend your time, but then you're actually present to enjoy whatever that choice was.
Absolutely.
So it's not that every minute of your day has to be going to saving the world, but it does need to be going towards your life experience.
Yes, yes, yes. And another thing that people tend to do that does not help is it kind of goes to what you were just saying, where when you're creating, because I'm big into creating like or filling out daily planners, your weekly planner, your monthly planner, so forth and so on, in order to just create that structure. And when creating out these planners or filling them out, I notice where some people will try to fill in every single time block or hour with something. And I let them know it's okay to fill out those blocks or block time off to absolutely do nothing, to take a break, to, just like you said, if you want to just have a lazy moment, have that moment and put it in your schedule, because when you put it in your schedule, it has a totally different feeling and you enjoy it more, because you don't have that thought in the back of your mind like, man, I know I need to send this email, or I know I need to prepare for this meeting tomorrow. No, you've made time to enjoy yourself. You've made time to do absolutely nothing, or to do whatever it is that you want to do during that particular block. And another thing that people sometimes mistaken whenever you are being intentional about your time and what you're doing throughout the day is it doesn't have to be rigid.
Right.
Keep it flexible. Create little buffer moments throughout the day to where you have some flexibility in there. And if you don't finish an assignment or whatever, let's just say you give yourself an hour and a half to complete whatever task that you're working on. If you don't finish it in an hour and a half, that's fine. Don't beat yourself up, because hopefully you would have built in a little bit of flexibility or a buffer zone to where you can give yourself an extra 10 or 15 minutes to come to a better stopping point. So yeah, I'm big into that as well. And I love what you were saying about it. So the second pathway that you mentioned, structure and systems. So I'm excited to see what you have to share about that.
Yeah. So the pillars of my time power methodology are doing an audit of your life, creating that dream vision, then creating the structure and the plan. And I feel like structure is the integral part of those pillars. But most programs out there only look at one of these things. So I feel that for structure to be successful, you have to look at your life and situation holistically. I am a believer that time and productivity is not a one size fits all. There is no template that I'm going to give you that I believe you're going to fit into. Everybody's life circumstances are so different, whether you have two businesses, one business, a business on the side of another job, whether you have 3 kids, 2 kids, whatever it is, single mom, big extended family, whatever it looks like, everyone's circumstances are so different. So your relationship with time is not going to look the same as your neighbor or a colleague. So I am all about creating this personalized, customized structure and system that's going to work for you in your lifestyle. Now, some people come to me and they're very visual. Some people want things electronically. Some people are creatives and they feel boxed in with any type of structure. So I have to be very creative in how I create the structure for them without them feeling like they're boxed in or they're in too big of a structure. So I think that this is a big misconception that people are trying to read that book or download that app or fit into one model that's out there. And that's the beauty of the time power methodology, is it's this custom. It's like, I use the analogy of, everybody likes to watch The Home Edit on Netflix, and they come in, these women, and they take your messy closet or messy wherever, and they organize it and they create a structure where you have a place to put everything back, color coded and looking beautiful. Well, that's essentially what I do with your life. I can't organize your closet for you or go buy you more hangers or go get more organizers without knowing what's really in there. So I feel like we try to do structure without really doing this audit first. So the key to a successful structure for me is doing all of these, looking at this 360, the audit. Where is your time going? Where is your time and energy leaking? What is your vision? Do you want the 4-day work week? Do you want to have 2 days with your kid? What is it that you want? And I'm not talking about like big, grandiose goals. I'm talking about like practical life experience. You want to write a book. You want to learn Spanish. Sure. But you said you're never going to do that because you don't have time. Well, let's make time for those things. Success is enjoying your everyday. And then, like I said, the structure, the customized structure that works for you. And then the plan. How are we going to execute this plan? And that's when outsourcing is hugely important. If you want time freedom and you want to free up some of your time, well, you have to make a choice. Are you going to stop doing those activities, or are you going to delegate those activities? Are they crucial to the experience you want, but you don't want to spend your time doing them? Then that's an output. But again, it's like this 360 pillars of really being successful.
Yes, I like that. Audit your life. Take an audit of your life first. Create your dream vision, and then create the structure and the plan.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, and I trust that this is what makes my program unique in that sense, is that most other places you're focusing on one of those, maybe 2, but not all of it together in this comprehensive snapshot. And I think that that's our pitfall as entrepreneurs. We're just doing everything piecemeal.
Yeah. And so when you're working with a client with this program, about how, I don't know if it's if you only work with people for the same amount of time or if it's flexible, like kind of give us an idea of what your program looks like and how it works.
Sure. Yeah. So the Time Power program, it is one-on-one. Because again, this is all customized and personalized. So there are live working sessions held with myself, and they're usually 6 to 8 sessions held over Zoom. And we do this process together. And I'm very big in doing it with you and for you. We're all busy and tired. So the idea of like having you come work with me and then giving you 3 hours of homework sounds horrible. So like, I want to have people come with me and get the work done with me while you have a guide. I remember being so burnt out, being like, can someone just tell me what to do? I just tell me what to do. I'll pay you to tell me what to do next. So I realized like that was a real need once you're in that rut. So that's kind of what this process is. It's doing this audit with you. It's a comprehensive process where I'm literally pulling out from you all the areas, your projects, wishes, and goals and tasks in all areas of your life, not just in your business. Because that's the other thing, as parents and entrepreneurs, it's all intertwined. There is no, there is some separation, but we hold everything on our shoulders. So if we're not giving the right amount of time to our personal care, our business suffers. If we're not giving enough time to our business, then our finances suffer. So it does need to be looked at comprehensively. So this is the full audit. We do that together. I organize it. I help you prioritize it so that we're really clear about the vision. Because sometimes people don't even know what they want until we start doing the audit. Well, you know what? What I really like is to have one afternoon a week to go to the spa, or I'd love to have one afternoon a week to spend with my partner, or I'd like one afternoon a week to do an art project, whatever it is. They don't even know what they want until they realize like, oh, it's been on my bucket list for 10 years, So yeah, it's in depth, pulling all these gems and processes from you and then creating the custom structure. So that might look like a time blocked calendar where I assure you that you have time for everything that you said was a priority for you. And then I might say, okay, now we're ready. Now you're ready to outsource because now I have 15 things from your list that you don't want to do anymore, but you need to do. So let's hire. Let me help you hire somebody to do these things for you. So it is meant to be A to Z, this kind of concierge of your life and business and helping you get to the bottom of what is going to make you feel successful. It's not about the numbers, but what does the day-to-day life look like that you feel like you're winning?
Yes. Oh, that's nice. You mentioned family, so I do want to kind of touch on that just a little bit. And one of the
Sure.
other topics that I think you can speak on would be how to honor time as a family. So if a person definitely is they're headstrong with their business or headstrong in this corporate role, but they have a family at home.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you help balance the two and sharing how to honor time as a family?
Yeah, I think from my personal experience, my husband used to say, you're being a time dictator. You're just dictating everyone's time. You're all organized. You have a plan, but we don't know what's going on. So I've realized the first thing that is hugely important when it comes to honoring time as a family is inclusion,
Mhm.
including them in the plans, including them in the benefits. And then you get everybody's investment, participation, and there's accountability. Like how many times I used to say, like, well, I told you soccer pickup was at this time, or honey, I told you needed to bring that to school today. But I didn't have a system that was inclusive for them. Like I was digital, but my kids are not on computers. They're not looking at what they need to do. So one way to include your and honor time as a family is to find a way to include them in the process. So one thing that I had done was actually created for my family, which is now a product that I sell because it was so successful, is I created a jumbo size family calendar, a jumbo size family wall calendar to manage our schedules and activities together so that I could foster communication and inclusion. And, we all have those like a month calendar on our refrigerator. Well, when you have more than two people in your family, you can't fit everything in those squares and actually read it. And I like researched every kind of family calendar I could find on Etsy and all these beautiful things, but they were all too small. I had grandparents coming in and out to help at different times. They couldn't read it. So I realized I needed something highly visual, something jumbo size where it could be in a central location, like the kind of hub. We have it in our kitchen because everyone goes to the kitchen, right? And it became this amazing place to share information in a fun way, celebrate, you have a play this week, like start talk, like we weren't talking about things when they were just in our calendars in our offices or on our computers. So a way to include your family is making information accessible, celebrating what's coming up. It can also become very educational for children, like learning the days of the week if you have the younger ones, or just visually seeing time. Children don't have the sense of time in the same way we do. But if they say this day comes before that day, and that day is when we're having pizza night, like there's things to look forward to. So my biggest tip for including your family and scheduling and honoring time as a family is creating a way for them to be a part of it.
Awesome. Yes. Because if you want people to help out or be on time for if you have certain events or you have certain meetings or you have a dinner that you need to go to. They need to be a part of it. They need to be able to say, okay, what's on my schedule for today? And that needs to be, they need to be able to have that put on their own schedule so they can keep it in mind, be aware of it as they're going through their day. So yeah, definitely. Keep it simple. I like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. And so you mentioned that you have the wall calendar. It's a product that you actually have for sale. Where
Yes.
can we find it?
Yeah, so please, you can visit JaimeeCampanella.com. There's a tab called Family Calendar. Go ahead and check that out. And you go right into the shop and you can get it there. It's called the Time Power Family Calendar. Jumbo size. It's 6 feet, large, dry erase. Comes with markers, the eraser, the whole nine.
Oh, I love it. You're speaking to my crafty side right now. I have to go check that out. Oh
Yes.
my gosh, that is perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so how about we transition to a quick little fun segment?
Okay.
So we know Jaimee as the time strategist, the productivity, I'll say expert, but
Sure.
the productivity
Yes.
person. And let's just kind of have a little fun for now.
Sure.
So I want to ask you a question. I might ask you 2 or 3.
Okay.
But the first one I want to ask you is, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, good question. This is really an odd one. This is the first one that came to mind. You know those people who shake their leg under the table? And the whole table shaking and you feel the vibration, the floor, and it just drives me crazy because it's like they're anxious or they're stressed out, but it's like this visual reminder and it stresses me out because they're stressed out. So I think one of my biggest pet peeves is like that, just shaking incessantly under the table or like beating on the table like a drum, like just tapping. I think that's it.
That is hilarious. Because as you were saying it and describing it, I'm like, yeah, I can see that now. This little table going and this person, they're fidgeting and they're like, come on, like, calm down.
Totally. I realize that really, I'm like, I can't focus when that's going on around me.
Right, exactly. That's a good one. Okay, then I definitely have to ask another question.
Okay.
The next question would be, what is your theme song? So that song when you walk into the room or you're at an event and it comes on, the DJ plays it, and you're like, I have to get up.
This girl is on fire. Not stand up when you hear that.
I love the enthusiasm. And you sang it. So
you don't get me singing on many podcasts. There you go.
I know that's your song because you sang it. No shame. I love it. No. Okay. I got to get one more in here. I got to get one more in here. Okay. So, what would be one word that you would use to describe yourself and why that word?
I'm going to say powerhouse.
Okay. You scared me for a second.
Like you said, one word, right? So I had to try to get as many big words in one word as I could. So powerhouse, because I feel that the connotation behind a powerhouse is unstoppable. I can get it done. There's courage, there's strength. When you have a strong foundation, that the house, you think about the structure. It's like kind of what I talked about today. Like structure is the house. When you have a strong foundation, you have a strong platform, then you can rise up and be powerful. And I think that stability is where I thrive, feeling in control, having structure. I can rise up and be as powerful and scream as loud as I want to be because I know I am on solid ground.
And that's very powerful. Awesome. Awesome. I can see that. Very good. Well, thank you for entertaining us during that little
My pleasure. Very unexpected there.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's segue to the final word. What's your takeaway? Maybe that nugget of information, that one last thing that you would like to share with our audience based off of the topics that we discussed today.
Time is on your side. Make friends with time. The way that you speak about time is the experience you're going to have. So remember that time is there for you to support you, and you do have enough time to do everything that you want to do.
Absolutely. Perfect way to end. And so, Jaimee, this is the opportunity where I'm giving you the floor to promote yourself, promote your program, your masterclass, your websites, whatever it is, because we want to be able to work with you. We want to support you. So please give us all of that information so we can follow you.
Yeah. So the two themes I spoke about today were mindset and practicality, the structures and systems. So I want to offer you a couple ways to continue your work on these tracks. So if you want to learn more about mindset and practical ways to shift your relationship with time, I encourage you to go sign up right now for my self-paced course called Treasure Your Time. It is an incredible resource for changing the way you think, and done in a very holistic way with physicalization and visualization exercises to really help you shift the way you relate to time from a mindset perspective. If you're interested in doing the time power program, which I talked about with those 4 pillars, then, go to take my masterclass. It's a free masterclass where I really dive into how to go from disorganized to becoming an organized CEO, entrepreneur, using those 4 pillars. So after you take that masterclass, you'll know for sure if the time power program is for you. And I did end up mentioning my time power family calendar. So if you're looking for a very practical tool to use and you have space on your wall, absolutely go ahead and pick up that time power family calendar. And for inspiration and tips, I encourage you to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Sign up for my newsletter where you can get some inspiration directly into your inbox. But go ahead and go to my website, because there's free resources and amazing products and services that can support you in becoming the master of your time.
Wonderful. Everyone, make sure you go support Jaimee. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for the knowledge and the valuable information that you have given us. And I do believe that you've shared things that we can take action on today, which is a goal of this channel. So we're going to close out this episode. That's it for today, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Be sure that you hit the thumbs up and share this episode. Make sure that it gets more exposure, because you've learned today how important time is. If you would like to be a guest on my podcast as well, please connect with me via my website, nrgyspeakslife.com. And always remember that when you master your mind, when you master your emotions, and when you master your assignment, you can live your purpose and live on purpose. Until next time, bye-bye.